What's up, boys and girls, and welcome to a new video. So today we're going to talk about something. A subscriber gave me an idea to do a video, and he asked a very simple question: how many bikes have I owned? These are bikes, not the bikes that I've ridden, because that would literally be like probably, I would say, well over 100 bikes that I've actually ridden, and proof of at least half of those are on YouTube. So I'm just gonna go over bikes that I've owned, me personally, right? Not my wife, not my cousin, not my dad. So just bikes that I've owned personally. So we're gonna start from the bottom, work our way up to the newest bike that I have. So yes, a lot of you guys have already heard the story. When I was 17, 18 years old, my dad gave me, it was I want to say it was a 1984 Kawasaki LTD 550. I'll throw a picture of it up on the screen right now. It was a very cool bike, you know, especially for someone who's 17, 18 years old. My first bike, I learned how to ride on that bike. I dropped that bike I don't know how many times. Very fun bike. So moving on. Now I had that bike for quite a while, probably about a year or so. I learned how to ride on that bike. Alright, so moving on. My second bike was a 1988, I believe. It was a Honda CM 450E that looked like a cafe racer. Very cool bike. There's probably very few people out there that know about this bike, but I believe the 450E was economical, so it was like a whatever CM 450, and then the E was economy or economical, whatever. It was meant to like get good gas mileage and things like that. I bought it from a guy up in Virginia Beach, actually. Drove that thing right back to North Carolina, got it working, got it running like it should, and it was a great bike. So those were my two old bikes that I've had, right? So years later, fast forward about 3 to 4 years later, I moved down to Florida. I didn't have a bike at the time, and I had a Ford Ranger that had like 230,000 miles on the thing, and it was about had it, you know, it was starting to smoke and just things were starting to go wrong with it. You know, 230,000 miles. I had the thing for 130 of those 1,000 miles. I had it for, you know, a long time, and I literally, all I did to that truck was change the oil on it, and other than that, it ran like a top. You know, 230,000 miles, I was kind of pushing it for a little 4-cylinder, right? So I ended up putting that bike up on whatever, Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, whatever it was back at the time, and I listed it for sale or for trade for a motorcycle, because I was looking at getting a new bike. Well, not a new bike, but I was looking at getting back into bikes, since now I lived in Florida, and you know, you can ride nearly 95% of the year in Florida. So I had a guy reach out to me, and he had a 2001 KLR 650, and I met up with the guy. We ended up, I liked his bike, he liked my truck. I ended up even trading the guy. I think he had it listed for like $2,000. So I ended up even trading the guy. I rode around with this KLR 650 for probably about 6 months or so. I ended up selling the KLR 650 for a 2001, I believe, the same year. It was a 2001 Honda Nighthawk 750. Now, this was like one of the few cruisers that I ever owned that was actually fairly quick. It was an inline 4, 750cc. You know, compared to like the KLR 650, obviously, it felt pretty strong, felt pretty peppy. But yeah, it was a Honda, I believe it was a 2001, it was a Honda Nighthawk 750, and fun bike, really fun bike. But I started having a lot of electrical issues, and I was basically, at the time, I was tired of dealing with old bikes, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go buy me something brand new. I'm just gonna buy something new, something you know, something good on gas, something that I can, you know, will be reliable and things like that. So, you know, at the time, I had just moved to Florida, you know, a year prior to. I was not in my career that I'm in now, and I was not making anywhere near as much money as I'm making now. I was poor, basically, to put it lightly, right? And I wouldn't say like I was like, you know, poor, but I was definitely not having a lot of money. I only had a bike at the time, just for reference. Like my Nighthawk was the only bike I owned, or the only vehicle that I owned. So yes, I went to the dealership and I ended up talking to them about different bikes and things like that and what was good on gas. And there happened to be it was a 2012 Honda CBR 250R, and I didn't really know much about it. I was like, you know, 250 seems small, you know. I didn't really know a whole lot about bikes back then. I didn't know how to ride them. I was not like into sport bikes or anything like that. And this was like I think it was 2012, because I bought the bike brand new. So I ended up buying the Honda CBR 250R. Ended up buying it brand new. I drove that bike. I rode that bike from Tampa, Florida to Fayetteville, North Carolina and back in like 4 days. It was like a 1,300-mile road trip. I was just like, you know what, a 250 can do it. So I did it, and honestly it was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun doing it, and I learned quite a lot about touring and things like that before I did my first, I guess, tour on this bike. I don't know where I'm at exactly, so I'm just kind of roaming around right now, just roaming around talking, just adding to the congested traffic. So yes, anyways, I got into like the touring mindset, and I was like, I want to do motorcycle touring, right? So you know, about a year later, I took my Honda CBR 250R to the dealership again, and I started looking at a Ninja 650 that I really liked. I started seeing like YouTube videos on it and things like that, and so I ended up trading it in on a 2013 Kawasaki Ninja 650, right? It was the newer model of the 650. It's not the newest one, obviously, but it was the newer ones. I think they changed in like 2012 from the old models. So it was a really good looking bike, and I thought, like, you know, this is a good bike. Like, it's going to be able to handle the highway, and it's going to be able to do touring on it and things like that. And obviously it was like great bike for touring, great bike to do a lot of things on, really. Swiss Army knife of bikes, so to say, right? So I had the Ninja 650 for about a year again. You know, I was going through trials, I guess you could say, of figuring out what kind of bike I liked and what I liked out of my bikes. So started looking at other bikes, and I came across a Ninja 1000, which was definitely an upgrade. I was going from a parallel twin 650cc to an inline 4 1000cc, so big upgrade, you know. But it's not like the ZX10. It was more of like a sport touring bike, you know. Still very fast and powerful. I think it did like 160 miles an hour. Still a very fun, powerful bike, but it was more comfortable. It was more upright, a lot like the FZ07 I'm on right now, right? So I had in the Ninja 1000 for, I wanted to say that was the longest I've ever had a bike, but it actually wasn't. So I had my Ninja 1000, I want to say, for like 4 years, somewhere around there, and it was a 2012. So it wasn't exactly brand new, but it was a 2012, and had that bike for a little over, I guess, 4 years, close to 5 years, and ended up trading that bike in on my 2015 GSXR 750, which is now the longest I've ever had a bike. And honestly, I wasn't exactly sure that I wanted to get into like a super sport bike, and I did a lot of reviews and reading and things like that. I did a lot of research on this GSXR, and come to find out that the GSXR was actually like the most comfortable out of all of the super sports. And me coming from a Ninja 1000, which was a sport touring bike, I thought this is my best option. You know, very ergonomical and very comfortable. They've been out for a while, you know, the reliability is there, the price is there, you know, everything was right. So I ended up buying the GSXR 750, and I absolutely fell in love with that bike. Still have it to this day. I have 33,000 miles on that bike, all for me. I bought it brand new. It's a 2015. I bought it at the beginning of 2016, and I gotta tell you guys, that bike, like, I don't know if I'll ever get rid of it. I actually listed it for sale about a little over a year ago, and I had a couple of people offer me like what I was asking, actually, and I was very much highballing it, and I just couldn't do it. So that bike I've had the longest, the GSXR 750. So then a little while later, probably, I don't know, 5 years later, back in, I believe, 2020, yeah, it was right after COVID happened, and yes, I bought a Z125 Pro. Kept the GSX-R, but I bought the Z125 Pro. Me and my wife both bought Z125 Pros within like a week of each other, because we wanted to get into like mini bike tracks and things like that. So we both bought Z125s. So yes, I bought the Z125. I liked it a lot. I had it for probably 6-7 months, all the while still owning my GSX-R, obviously. And I had it for 6-7 months, and I wanted something just a little bit faster than that. So I bought the 2022 KLX 300 SM, the Supermoto for Kawasaki. So the Kawasaki KLX 300 Supermoto. And that bike, I gotta say, like, I've probably never really regretted buying a bike as much as I did that bike. And I hate, like, I've never actually owned up to, like, even said this. Like, if Heather's watching this video, she's gonna be like, I can't believe you. I just, like, I thought it was so much more than it actually was. And when I bought it, I realized that Kawasaki literally just took a dirt bike through some, or like, not even a dirt bike, like a trail bike, and just threw some 17-inch rims on it, threw some crappy tires on it, and marketed it as a Supermoto. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I should have bought a DRZ 400. Like, just putting that out there, right? So I had that bike for, I wouldn't say I had it for a little less than a year, probably about 11, maybe 12 months at the most, right? And I literally put like 2,000 miles on that bike within a year. Like, I just wasn't that happy with the bike. It was good on gas, you know, it was fun, you know, nothing against it, but it just, for the price and for what you're getting, I wasn't liking it. I wasn't feeling it, really. So I ended up selling the KLX 300 SM, and now I am on my final purchase. Well, I say that now. By the time this video comes out, you never know. So I bought, this is a 2017 Yamaha FZ07. And I basically wanted something a little bit more powerful, still comfortable, and still upright, you know, to have as a secondary bike. But I also wanted something that I could take to the track and use as a B-bike. Or, you know, if I went to the track and my GSX-R, like, the tires were getting worn out, and I didn't want to buy a full set of tires, but I still had, you know, 3-4 sessions of the day, I can hop on the FZ07 with Q3 pluses on it, and I can still ride the track and have fun, you know? On the KLX 300 Supermoto, I don't think I could have taken it to the track the way I did on, you know, with this bike and with my GSX-R. Alright guys, so we got the LTD 550, we got the CM 450, we got the KLR 650, we got the Nighthawk 750, we got the CBR 250R, and then we got the Ninja 650, we got the Ninja 1000, we got the GSX-R 750, we got the Z125 Pro, and then we got the Yamaha FZ07. So I've been riding for 16-ish years, and I've owned 10 bikes, right? I don't feel like that's totally unnecessary. I don't feel like that's like too many bikes, right? And the cool thing about it is, like, I've gone through a wide range of bikes. Like, I've gone from, you know, old school cafe bikes to cruiser bikes to enduro bikes to supermoto bikes to super sport bikes to sport touring bikes. Like, all of my 10 bikes are pretty much completely different from anything else that I ever owned. Probably the most similar were going to be like the LTD 550 and the Honda Nighthawk 750 were very similar because they were both inline fours, they were both cruisers, they were both older carbureted bikes. But other than that, like, all of my bikes have been very different, you know? It's not like I've had 10 super sports and been like, okay, I still don't know what I want. Like, I've just had a very wide range of bikes, and I think that's why I'm able to, like, appreciate pretty much any bike for what it is. Alright, so I forget who exactly mentioned that I should make a video about this, but thank you for commenting, because I like when people give me ideas that, you know, other people want to see videos on and things like that. So I thought that was a cool idea. So these are the 10 bikes that I've owned. Hopefully I was able to find a picture of all the bikes that I've owned and put it on the screen here for you guys. If not, I apologize. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Peace and ride safe.